Can I take one of these too?
Yep.
Sweet. Sweet. That's high quality H2O.
Marcus, how you feeling?
I feel great. I feel great. Blessed, sir. Blessed, sir.
It's been a few minutes since your fight. How'd you feel?
I feel grateful to get it done, and keep that finishing rate streak going, especially against a guy like Gaston. Very tough, and he's like a tough person, right? Like my hands hurt from hitting him, and he took some shots I didn't think that he was going to be able to take. So, kudos to him for sure. It's super tough, super durable. Super impressed by him.
How do you feel about your overall performance?
I felt good. Certain things that I still, always self-critiquing myself. There's certain things that I don't like how I picked. I like to get to fighting right away. I feel like it took me a good minute and 15 seconds to start fighting. I don't like that. I come to fight all 15 minutes, but again, it played in my favor, so we'll take it. And sometimes that's necessary. So I'm learning, constantly learning. So I'm happy to get some learns with wins.
And how did it feel to like outstrike this like kickboxer that who Gaston is, right? And you went out there and you honestly styled on him.
Man, I'm happy you said it like that, because it was definitely still a tough fight. But yes, a lot of people, like, don't get me wrong, like I don't blame them, but a lot of folks wanted me to just go out there and grapple him, and my grappling's coming along a lot, and when I get ready to start showing it off, it'll be nice. But I am a striker, and I believe I could outstrike the best strikers in the world. I really believe that, but I'm not the guy that's out there, boasting about it, like, oh, no one's got anything on me, and I'm just the best. But I do believe it. I have a lot of faith in myself. We put a lot of work in. I have some great coaches that I work with, and I'm constantly evolving. So it was great to go out there and do exactly what I wanted to do: outstrike the striker.
Was that the game plan going into the fight? Was to outstrike him, or was it kind of like see how the fight kind of went?
It was to see how the fight went. If the opportunities to take him down presented themselves, take him down. Turn it into an MMA fight, because it is MMA. This is not kickboxing or Muay Thai or Taekwondo. It's all of them, right? So we should never be going out there just to strike guys, even if we're a striker. So when we talked about it, it was like, Marcus, you can do them all. Be free in there, but he's a striker. Take him down, So, but in my mind, I was like, I think I'm going to knock this guy out, and I really felt that way. And it's not that I ever guarantee that I'm going to finish guys. It's not like I'm like, every guy's getting finished and no one can take it. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to spend every moment and every fiber of my being trying to get these guys out of there. And that's kind of how my thought process is.
3 fights in the UFC, 3 finishes. Like, you're on a lot of people's radars now. I mean, how does that feel? Because I think the broadcast said it, and people who've been watching. Like last year, you were in LFA, and now you're 3 fights, 3 finishes in the UFC, looking good.
Yeah, I'm blessed and I'm super thankful for it. And I love that that's a story. But more so than that, like I always say, like the more important things in life are what I'm more proud of. The father I am, the husband I am, the brother, cousins, like those are the things that I've been so focused on. The devout follower I am of Jesus Christ. Like my spirit, like all that stuff is like all of that's converting into my fighting so much more than, and I don't think people realize it, but I feel like that's that's what's getting me here. My mind is so focused on those things that when it comes to training, I can't help but be in the same type of frequency.
With that being said, you've said numerous times you live a pretty low lifestyle where like you don't go out and like flaunt so much. But how has this last year's changed your life with the performance bonuses? I know you say you paid off some credit cards, but like how has it really changed your life?
That's about it. Just paid off some debts, got my kids some shoes that we never got my first pair of Jordans, just a couple things, but nothing crazy, just because again, my focuses are to give back. My focuses are to build something that supersedes me as a fighter, me as this big face and all these things. So for me, it hasn't changed much in my life, just because my focus aren't to be too crazy out there boasting. I want to show that humility goes a long way, and I don't think that's something that people are, especially in this in this with industry, humility is not something that everyone's about. So I want to push that. That's something that I feel is very strong in my calling. So I feel like that kind of edges into my life. I have a good time with my kids and my family. I don't need to be doing too much else.
Obviously, Mario hasn't fought yet, but how does it feel to share a card with Mario?
Super blessed, right? And me and him worked hard through this whole camp, pushed each other all camp long. All of our strength and conditioning trainings were together, like so much that we did together. And I am super excited to watch him go out and do the same thing. And I'm just proud of the work that we put in. That's what we talked about too. No stone was left unturned, right? We can go out here and be free every time as long as we do that. As long as we put all of our heart, all of our soul into the people around us and pour ourselves into them as they pour into us, we can go out here for this 15 minutes and be free.
And finally, for me, when would you like to return? And your next fight's got to be in front of a crowd, right?
Got to be in front of a crowd, right? Like, I don't see how it can't, I thought this one should. This is going to be a banger. I knew it was going to be a banger, Gaston. I am telling you, I have so much respect for you guys. I don't just say. A lot of people say things. I don't just say things to say them. I respect these guys. These guys put a lot in their whole life in this. So, yes, we're going to need a crowd. I'm thinking probably April, sometime in April is when we'll return. We'll see how everything lays out, make sure we get back, make sure we're healthy, spend the time with my family that I keep telling them I'm gonna do. We hang out and we spend so much time together regularly, so I'd be like, oh, we're good, but like they're getting older. I need to take them some places and make some memories. It can't just be, hey, we just have fun together, so we're gonna do that first.
Okay,
Thank you.
Like Alex just said, next one has to be in front of a crowd. You're 3 for 3 in the UFC and 5 in a row in general. Is that next one has to be against a ranked opponent for you, or is it just whatever the UFC gives you? Man,
you're kind of trying to move me fast over here, huh? It's not that I'm against it, but I don't think I'm ready for that yet, to be honest. I'm a man of his word, and I think I have to do my work, right? I'm not trying to skip over anybody. There's a lot of killers in this division, a lot of undefeated guys that you see out here that deserve that over me, and I'm here to do my work. I said it before I got in the UFC, and I'll say it now. Like, I'm willing to do the work that it takes to get up to that, and I believe that I will. I believe that I will achieve that goal, but in due time, right? At God's timing. And so I get back to work, make sure that I'm ready and able to do that, because I do respect these guys and believe they've worked their butts off to get to where they are. And when I get there, I want to stay there.
That's a great mindset to have. I mean, we see some guys that kind of just demand for a higher ranked guy next at whatever fight they're in. So how do you approach the fight game with that mindset, knowing how, like, hey, I have these holes I got to fix before I go into this fight?
Yeah, that exactly, right? Like, I think people are in too much of a rush for no reason, right? What are you rushing for? Right? I'm not rushing anything. I'm excited for the challenge ahead of me with all of these guys, but I have work to do, and these guys have work to do, and I'm willing to chip away at it. Everybody wants to get up there, but it's like, it's not about just getting there. It's about staying there, right? Like, what happened? So what if I get there and then I can't stay there, and then it's all said and done, and now I'm back at square one, and what's for what? Right, for my 15 minutes of fame? No, I want to build something that supersedes Marcus the fighter, right? And the way you do that is by building an empire step by step, not trying to jump to the 10th floor, just because we got some good turnouts,
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you're sharing the card with Mario Bautista, like we just mentioned. But another fellow MMA lab fighter will be defending his title in March, Sean O'Malley. So how do you see that fight going with Cheeto in the rematch?
Yeah, I always got to go with my teammates. I love my teammates. Cheeto is a beast. I have a lot of respect for Cheeto and his game and his credentials, right? So don't beat me up, Cheeto. But yeah, I got Suge. I got Suge getting that W. I think that he has the tool set to get that finish and to get Cheeto out of there. So I do believe Suge is going to get that done in March.
And you also mentioned earlier, not too long ago, that the humility that someone like you has is not really seen too much in this space. So are there any fighters that do have it that you kind of look up to and, respect?
I respect Josh Emmetts a lot. Right, Josh Emmetts is one of those guys that I look up to and have been looking up to, and just his storyline and how he got into the UFC. I feel like it's like very similar to mine, and the way he carries himself. He's one of them. And there's not too many other guys. Not too many other. Not to say that they're not, like, I'm sure there are, but there's not a whole lot. You hear a lot of guys that are just like, everybody's trash, everybody's garbage, I'm the best in the world. And I'm like, I'm not hating, guys. I'm not hating. Do your thing, but we're human beings, That's all. That's how I feel, I'm just a human being. So that's just how I feel about it. And that's not something that I guess this is not one of those sports where people want to feel that way. They want to feel like they got to push that type of mentality where it's like, I got to just tell everybody that I'm just the ish. And maybe you are, maybe you're not, but we're all going one way, So, and this is only going to last however it lasts. And my story I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, that guy was just extra.
What were your thoughts on Josh's knockout last month?
I was trying to get one of those. I'm not going to lie. Like, that thing was nasty. I didn't want him to convulse and all that extra stuff, too. Like, I pray for the guys that I fight, But, man, that thing was, that's the closest you can get to killing somebody without killing somebody,
And I saw there, when you were leaving the cage, you shared a cool little moment with your wife. How was that like?
Yeah, it was great. It was beautiful because I didn't think she was going to be able to get into the Apex today, so it's beautiful, And again, it's just not that she didn't believe in me, but, it's hard being a fighter's wife when he's broke and working 60 hours a week and training 30 hours a week, and you guys aren't, and he's barely paying the mortgage, and, it's like, it's hard. So for a long time, it was like, how are you going to keep doing this, And for her to be able to be here as I am able to achieve what I'm achieving, it means a lot. And the fact that we were able to stick through it, because, she could have just left me, been like, you know what, get up out of here, boy. I ain't doing this with you. She's a teacher. She's like, I work a regular job. You can work a regular job too, And so it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to share that moment with her. It's a blessing for my kids to be able to see that, my words are not the best right now, but we were diligent through this whole process and stayed together, stayed strong, because it's not easy. You forget about those 10 years behind the scenes where everything wasn't working out, when you weren't getting 3 finishes in the UFC and bonuses and all this extra stuff wasn't working out, and you're barely making ends meet, but you got to still show love, humility, like all that stuff plays into who the person I am, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
That's awesome. I'm glad you guys got to share that moment. And last one, what were those pair of Jordans that you got?
The Thunders. I got the 4s. Yeah, the Jordan 4. My son was like, yeah, those are the ones, Dad, And I got him some Supreme. What did I get him? Some Supreme Forces. I got my daughter some Supreme Forces, too. So that they got their first best pair of shoes when I got my first best pair of shoes. So that's pretty cool, too, because I don't really do that type of stuff. I'll get me some Vans, some Etnies, I'm going to skate them. So those are what I got. But they're dope. The yellow and black ones, the Bumblebees, I do like them. They're at the hotel right now, so.
The bonuses will turn you into a sneakerhead, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Nah, maybe one more pair. No, you're talking me into something now, aren't you? No.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Marcus, it seems like every time I come here, you're fighting. This is 3 times in a row I've been here, and you're on the card. So I'm on Team McGhee now. Congrats on the win, bro. But, based on your last 2 fights and your personality that you've shown us back here many times, I'll start to think we need to call you, like, the gentleman or friendly or something. Anything but the maniac. But we saw the maniac tonight in there. What brought out the maniac this time?
Yeah, I honestly say it all the time. Like, I believe that since I do hold myself to the standard that I hold myself outside of the cage, and the way I appreciate and respect everything that I'm doing, when it comes to stepping in that cage, I'm willing to let it go in there, right? That's the time I'm not going to be nice. Like, I feel for my opponents. I feel for everybody in there. But that is my 15 minutes to be as violent as I can be, right? And that's where the maniac kind of pops out, right? Because you can't take that out into the rest of it. I can't raise my daughters like that, raise my son like that. I can't build community like that and give back to people and show people how to treat people like that. That's not what it is. But I can absolutely do that outside of the cage, So I hold myself to that standard outside of the cage. But when that door closes inside of the cage and I look across at my opponent, it's me and him.
Was there anything about the stylistic matchup or anything leading up to the fight that made you want to be more aggressive, or is it just, do you attribute that to maybe like 3rd time in here, you've done really well each time, just building confidence, better, like kind of mental preparation?
No, no, I really feel like I do a good job of flipping that switch, and my teammates will say that too. I'll be in the back praising Jesus, listening to my music, praising the Lord, and then it's like, all right, we got 15 minutes, and that flip switches. I flip it on, and I think again that comes with how I live my life, and I do what I'm supposed to do. And not every day. I fall short constantly, but I do my best day in and day out to be the best man that I can be. And I feel confident in the fact that when I do go out there and let my maniac hang out and my dreads start wiggling, it's the time for me to do so. It's the one time in the whole year where I get to be that guy. So I embody him.
Yeah, I just noticed an increase in intensity, and then you had mentioned after the fight that you really wanted to kind of branch out and test yourself, because we've seen what you can do with your submissions and your knockouts, but you really wanted to kind of just stand and bang and improve, get those miles in, on the big stage.
Yeah, well, I feel like we keep calling it the test, right? Like, we do all this homework, we do all this work. We're in the gym, I'm doing all this strength and conditioning. We're working so hard constantly. Now it's time to take the test. I want to go out there and take the test and do my best on the test, right? And challenge myself for the test. I always ask, I always say, give me the strength to endure a hard life, not an easy life, right? I'm not asking for easy things. I'm not asking for things to be given to me, but I do want the strength and the durability to be able to deal with it when it comes, And I think you get those things by going through them, right? You got to go through the fire, and the fire will build you. And I feel like that's what I'm working on right now, is just building myself through the fire.
Awesome fight. We look forward to the next one, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Quick one for me. You mentioned the wife being a teacher.
Yeah.
So she's schooling people in classroom. You're schooling people in the octagon.
Yep. That's what we say. That's what we say.
If the kids ever get out of line, does she say like, "Hey, you guys know who my husband is, right?"
Yeah, I had to go in and drop a couple kids a couple times. That spinning heel kick. I worked it on like maybe 4 fourth graders before. I won't say their names or anything, but they had it coming. No, but seriously, it is funny because I have went in and like read books to some of her kids and stuff like that. I try to go in, and it's cool that she asks me to do so, but it's something that I really appreciate because, again, my dad's in my life now. My dad was in prison for most of my life, though. So being able to go and be a role model for kids and give them someone who's strong still, but also who's loving and humble and caring and nurturing, trying to give them that, like, it's really cool for me, and I appreciate being able to do that for them. So whenever she has me come in, I'm like, yeah, I'll read whatever you want me to read for them. That's cool.
Awesome, man. You guys are doing big work. Thank you for giving back to the community.
Thank you.
And congrats on that win.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. All right, we good. All right, I got a hot 16 right